Hello friends, welcome to my next lecture on outcome based education. And in this lecture we are going to discuss about PSOs, program specific outcomes, POs, program outcomes, COs, course outcomes, and graduate attributes. In my last lecture, in my first lecture, we have discussed about outcome based education and what are the different definitions of outcome, and we have discussed about Bloom's taxonomy. We have discussed about teacher's perspective, that is called as knowledge dimension, cognitive process dimension, and then we have discussed about what is the teacher is teaching and what is the student is supposed to learn about. And we have also discussed about what are the different skills that we are going to teach to the students, and what attitude the students will have. And we have interlinked between the knowledge dimension and cognitive process. So again, what in a cognitive process we have seen in this particular slide, if you see, the first three are the mental skills, then manual skills, and others, all of them are constituted a total attitude. These are all the things. So this one shows which are the particular keywords that should be used when we try to combine the knowledge dimension and the cognitive process dimension. So this one was in the last lecture. We have discussed about the program design top-down approach, wherein we start with vision, mission, and of the institute and department. Whatever the department's vision missions are there, they should be, what you can say is, resemble, or they should be complying with the vision mission of the institute. And program educational objective. Now vision mission will be for the institute as well as department, and the program educational objective will be for the program, for your course in the sense, if you are maybe you are running computer science and engineering or mechanical or any other branch, so that is your program now. Then we have to identify about the program outcomes, then graduate attributes, program specific outcome, that is one is to be considered over here. So along with program outcomes, we are considering program specific outcomes also here, and graduate attributes and course outcomes. We have discussed about the how to come up with the vision statement, and who are the different stakeholders, mission statement, the process. And today we are going to discuss about the program specific outcomes. So these program specific outcomes are these are some of the statements that we identify, that will be the statements about saying that what the student should be able to do at the time of graduation, after doing your program, and after studying 4 years of engineering. So what will be his capabilities, what he will be able to perform after 4 years of graduation. Let us say it could be 4 years of graduation, of 3 years of diploma, whatever it could be. So this is with reference to the specific discipline. For example, for computer science and engineering, it will be in terms of programming, it will be in terms of database management system, it will be in terms of the computational skills, the computational outcomes that we can measure about. So for that purpose, we say that it is a program specific outcome. So for example, for computer engineering, we can have two different program specific outcomes. One is, I am giving here as a sample, but you can, for your program, you can come up with up to 4 program specific outcome. 4 will be better. One of them, I will read it out, that apply the standard software engineering practices and strategies in software project development using open source programming environment to deliver a quality product for business success. For example, now here what is embedded inside this statement is, we are going to learn, we want him to learn about the open source programming. We want him to learn about the programming environment. We want him to know about what is a quality product, and we want him to apply the software engineering practices that we are going to teach in the 4-year course of this computer engineering. Another program specific outcome can be analyze, interpret, and visualize data by adapting advanced data analytics model for decision making in complex problem, and facilitate other interdisciplinary research. So these are some of the samples, but you can come up for it. So remember that these PSOs are for program specific. Whatever your program is there for that particular specifically, you have to define, and you can come up with 4 PSOs. And the next thing that we need to discuss about is uh, program outcomes. So the program outcome are a narrower statement that describe what students are expected to be able to do at the time of the graduation. Now these program outcomes generally they are derived from graduate attributes. Generally, the ABET or Washington Accord, these have given some graduate attributes, and from that graduate attributes, these program outcomes should be selected, or they should be considered. They should be designed in the way. Generally, we can have up to 12 program outcomes. So generally, we can have up to what you can say 12 program outcomes. So they are created by using the graduate attributes. The graduate attributes are being defined from ABET. So some of the guidelines for the program outcomes is program outcome they should basically describe about the knowledge, skills and behavior of the student as they progress through the program as well as by the time of the graduation, and must reflect all the graduate attributes as I was saying. So it's all the program graduates should reflect all these graduate attributes. We are going to discuss about these graduate attributes in some of the next slides. Only the thing is that one thing is that program specific outcomes are specifically for the program, and program outcomes are they are in general defined. So capability to learn, or capability to, let us say, present himself. So you can see the graduate attributes, and depending on that you can devise the program outcomes. The next the next thing that comes into picture is course outcomes as from the top-down methodology. So here we have seen this particular top-down methodology. So here you can see that there is a vision mission, and then there is a identifying POs, then PEOs and POs. Along with POs, we are also identifying some PSOs, 3 to 5 PSOs, and then they are being taken from graduate attributes and course attributes. So continuing with the same point, let us discuss about course outcomes. Now, what are these course outcomes? So when you come up with a course, when you come up with the whenever you want to come up with the syllabus of the course, particular course, at that time first you want to define about what will be the outcome of my course. So what student will be able to do after studying my course. Okay, so course outcomes are major domain specific outcomes written using action verbs, which are specific and they are measurable and can be demonstrated by the student on the completion of the course. So this is very important to know about. This first thing is that we have to define properly the course outcomes, and then we can proceed ahead. So as I was saying that in the top-down approach to course outcome we have to define. So we will see about how the course outcomes and are to be considered, and how many course outcomes should be there. So I'll stop and start it once again. So when you have a course outcome, in that case, what should be the care, or what things we should remember while designing the course outcome is course outcome should aim to develop the higher order skills in each domain of the learning. So evaluation, synthesis, analysis are typical, you can say, examples of cognitive domain. Now, how many course outcomes should be there? So there should be 4 to 6 course outcomes. Remember that it should not be very less number of course outcomes. They should not be very high, because later on what you have to do is you have to you can say you have to show that you have to draw one table, and in which you have to show that which course outcome is taking care of which program outcome. So more number of course outcomes will give rise to more number of columns, and less number of course outcomes may give rise to that your course is doing some task but it is not reflected on the program outcome. So it should be 4 to 6 course outcomes are to be defined. Then course outcomes which can be mastered in significantly lower number of lessons are likely to be too trivial and more suitable for unit or module outcomes. Instead of bringing them to the course outcome, you can take that course outcome to the module outcome. And attainment of each course outcome should lead to attainment of one or more program outcomes. So that is very much important. We are going to have one table in which we are going to show about the attainment of CO and course outcome and program outcome. Moving ahead, sample course outcome could be something like this. So I am taking a course on algorithm design. So I have designed some course outcomes for my particular course. So let us discuss about what are the different course outcomes. I have taken 5 outcomes. The 5 course outcomes are, first one is whenever, let us say, a English statement is given, whenever some statement is given, so for that particular statement, for that particular language problem, let us say if English language problem is given, some language problem is given in English language or in any language, let us say, the student will be capable of defining the problem precisely with what will be the input and what will be the output requirements. What are the input requirements, what are the output requirements. You will be able to examine its inherent complexity and develop the generic set of initial solutions, okay, and justify their correctness. So if I ask him to add 10 numbers, let us say, so in that case my course outcome is that when I say that write a program, so I want to devise an algorithm in which I am interested to add 100 numbers. So in that case he should be able to identify what is the input and he should be able to identify what is the output. He should be able to identify what processing should be there and it should be precise. Okay, this is the first course outcome I have defined. The second one is, now this is for English, any statement is given, and for that he will be able to identify what will be the input, what will be the output, what will be the processing. In the second case, it is when I am giving the algorithm description. Okay, I am giving him merge sort, let us say, I am giving him quick sort. So whenever a algorithm is given to him, he will be able to analyze the time and space complexity of the algorithm. In the worst case, in the best case, and in the, you can say, average case, let us say, amortized scenario, as needed in terms of a symplectic order of the complexity. So first thing is that whenever a problem statement is given, he will be able to identify what is the input and what is the output. In the second case, it will be whenever the algorithm is given, he will be able to analyze the program for the time complexity and the space complexity. In the best case, worst case, or average case, or amortized situation, any situation. My third outcome is whenever a problem is given. Now I have English statement problem is given, or description is given, algorithm description is given. Now I am giving him the problem. Whenever a problem is given, so he will explore the different alternative algorithm solutions, compare them with respect to the time and space complexity, and choose the design schemes or design parameters and the data structure appropriately to obtain the best possible choice. For example, you may ask him to, let us say, solve spanning tree problem. Okay, so given a graph, and in this graph I want to construct the spanning tree for this particular graph. It could be the minimum spanning tree, minimum cost spanning tree, or just a spanning tree. So which algorithm that can be applied to identify the n-1 number of if let us say n is the number of edges, then which algorithm can be applied to identify n-1 edges so that the minimum amount of time is taken. So there are different algorithms. There is Prim's algorithm, there is Kruskal algorithm, there is DFN algorithm, or you can directly use your depth first search algorithm. You can use breadth first search algorithm to construct the spanning tree. He should be in this third outcome, I am saying that he will be able to come up with the design, and he will be able to come up with what data structure he will be capable to he should use in the program. All these things he will be able to perform. My next one course outcome is whenever I'm giving him the problem, at that time he is able to design and analyze the algorithm using the method studied to solve problems in important application, including those related to sorting or searching or strings or graph or matrices or data structuring or combinatorial optimization. For example, if you say traveling salesperson problem, at that time what are the different ways in which that problem traveling salesperson problem can be solved, and then in which different ways it can be represented. The graph can the cities can be represented in a graph, they can be represented in a matrix, or any other data structure can I use. So all these things he will be capable of doing. And my last course outcome I am giving up is examine and prove whether so a problem is a polynomial complexity or it is a NP problem, non-polynomial problem. Now non-polynomial is NP hard problem, or it can be NP complete problem. Okay, so these are my these are sample course outcomes that I have considered. You can consider according to your you can say course and whatever the course you are teaching for. Next one is whenever you construct a course outcomes and program outcomes, at that time you have to construct a COPO matrix. Okay, now in this particular matrix you have to show out what is the resemble, or how much it is, you can say it is resembling with the particular course, is how much it is resembling. So if let us say some location is 1, it means that it is it matches with this PO, or it is covering this PO in very low order, 2 is in a mid order, and 3 is a high order. Okay, so there could be some blocks in which there can be 0, that means there is no relation between this CO and this PO. So this matrix shows that what is the relation between how your course is you can say matching with the program. Okay, how much care your course is taking, and that you can continue with this particular COPO matrix. Even you have to construct a CO versus PSO matrix. So CO versus PSO matrix. So that is another matrix you need to construct. Okay, so this is about course outcomes and all. Coming to the next one is relation between COs and POs. So COs and POs, these are very important points. So COs is attainment of desired discipline expertise, then attainment of all POs, and considerable preparedness for POs. So whatever our COs we are generating, they should take care of all these points. And while a particular course may target some POs or not others, taken together all the courses, whatever in your course they have in a program must meet all the POs satisfactorily. This is very much important. So this is about COs and POs. We will discuss about course and programs. So saying about the third course outcome is whenever an algorithm is given, he will be able to explore the different algorithm of the alternative of the algorithmic solution, and compare the different algorithmic solution with each other, and he can come up with this time complexity and space complexity of the given algorithms and choose the design which best suits the problem current problem solution. Moving ahead to the fourth course outcome, he will be able to design and analyze the algorithm using the method studied to solve the problems in important application. For example, they can be the different algorithm design techniques, and they can be the different data structure that can be used. They can be the different representation in which the problem can be solved. The problem can vary from searching, sorting, and string programs or graph programs, or you can say some dynamic programming problems, some knapsack problem, or some greedy solutions to given problems, or they can be backtrack problem, or it could be some NP problem. So there can be some NP problem, and trying to identify some P solution to them. And the fifth course outcome is examine and prove whether the given problem is P problem or NP problem. In NP again, he can come up with whether it is a NP hard problem or NP complete problem, and formulate a particular solution if possible in the P solution P size, and get the particular solution. So this is about the course outcome. Coming to the matrix, so this is the matrix that I was talking about previously. So here in this particular matrix, you can check out here that this is a matrix for CU versus PU, so course outcome versus program outcome. And so here in one axis there are course outcomes, and in one axis there are PUs. So how does the first course outcome is resembling with my 12 program outcomes? How does the second course outcome that we have discussed previously, that is resembling with the courses? Now here this is continuation. Now 3, wherever I am putting the value 3, it means that the relevance is highest. The 2 indicates that the relevance is moderate. There can be some values in which there can be 1, and that is low relevance, but there is a relevance. And let us say if I am not filling anything, or if I am putting 0 here, in that case there is no relevance. That is, this particular course outcome is not covering this particular program outcome. So constructing this table is course matrix is very much important to identify which program outcomes are properly covered by different courses, or which course is covering the different program outcomes. And it can be done for all the courses. Actually we have to do it for all the courses. And a similar table can be drawn to have a relation between PEO and mission statements. Similarly, we can have another table, same table, which is course outcome versus PSO, program specific outcome, and there should be another table which should be between PO versus graduate attributes. So such tables are to be constructed, and you have to show the relation among the different parameters. This slide shows what is the relation between CO and PO. So now the selection of courses and their ordering, identification of courses of each course in any given program along with the effective teaching learning methodology should ensure these 3 things. So this is very important. So attainment of the desired discipline expertise, then attainment of all PEOs, so COs, all the COs should attain all the POs, and considerable preparedness for POs. While a particular course may target some POs and not others, taken together, it is very important, taken all together should attain all the POs satisfactorily. So let us continue with this again. In the next video, I am going to let us discuss about course and relation between a course and program. So in the last video we were discussing, currently we are discussing about a relation between CO and PO. So what could be a course and what could be a program is very much interested to know. So a course, you can say that a course is defined as anything. It could be any theoretical subject, or it can be any practical subject, or it can be theoretical come practical subject. And a program is generally some course in the sense of some branch of engineering, or some graduation type you are doing over there. So program is defined as the specialization or a discipline of a degree. So moving ahead, we need to discuss about 4 graduate attributes. 12 graduate attributes. And while we have seen in our some of the previous slides that in the top-down methodology of course design, so somewhere we have seen this is a top-down methodology approach of program design. So somewhere graduate attributes are there, and let us have the discussion among these about these graduate attributes. So graduate attributes, there are 12 graduate attributes, and these are defined by ABET. And what ABET expects is your course outcomes, your program outcomes should be designed in such a way that they are taking care of these graduate attributes. So there are specifically 12 graduate attributes. The first graduate attribute is engineering knowledge, wherein you are expecting the student to have engineering knowledge, then problem analysis skills, then design and development of the solution. So you want the student to design and development the solutions for the difficult problem, complex problem. Then you want the student to conduct some investigation of complex problems. So there could be some problems that cannot be solved by straightforward application. Then how to identify, how to find the solution. Uh, there can be a problem which may not have a unique solution. So for example, design problem can be solved in many ways and lead to multiple possible solutions. In computer engineering, if you want to sort a given array of 1000 elements, a given array of 10 lakh elements, a given array of 1 crore elements, there will be different possible solutions. And in the first one, that is the problem wherein the solution is not straightforward. For example, if you consider traveling salesperson problem, so there is a straightforward solution which takes 2 raised to n complexity. So if you have two cities, it will 2 raised to 2. If you have 3 cities, it will be 2 raised to 3. And if you have 100 cities, so your traveling salesman problem will take around I will say 50 hours to solve a TSP problem of 100 cities. So straightforward solution is not possible here. Then he should be able to solve it in another way. For example, we are using some artificial intelligence methods. Even Google is using AI method to find out the shortest route between two locations. There could be some problem that required consideration of appropriate constraints and requirement not exactly given in the problem solutions. For example, cost, power. If you have studied about engineering, then in that case there is one problem that is called as reliability design. So you can go to the internet and you can check for that solution, that problem, what is reliability design. In a reliability design, we want to construct a component with the highest reliability in a given cost. So whenever we want to construct a device, at that time some components are required and each component has some cost. If we parallelize the components, means if we try to use same component connected parallel to each other, it will increase the reliability. And whenever we are connecting the devices which are required to be connected in series, at that time their reliability multiplies. Reliability multiplies means it comes down. So if 50% reliability is there for the first component and 50% reliability is there for the second component, at that time, if we can connect them in the series, it will become 25%. And if same type of two components are there and if we connect them in a parallel, at that time 50% will become 75%. So connecting two switches, let us say, so something like that. Then we want them to study the problems which need to be defined within the appropriate mathematical framework. And we want them to study often the problems which often requires use of modern computational concepts and tools. So the graduate attributes, these are the first 4 graduate attributes. The student should be using, or he should be able to use the modern tools. For example, he should be able to create and select or apply appropriate techniques, and he should be able to use the tools. Then the student, the engineer and society, he should apply reasonable or reasoning information by the context knowledge to assess the societal or health or safety or legal and cultural issues. 7th one is environmental and sustainability. He should also take care of environment, ethics. So if he is a computer engineer, computational ethics are to be followed. There are many different definitions under this ethics and all. Then he should be an individual, as well as he should be a good individual working individually, or he should be good team player. So we want to learn him these skills. Communication, he should be able to communicate and he should be able to present his ideas to the external world. He should be a good project management and finance person, and overall, finally, what I want to say is he should have the skills of lifelong learning. So these are the 12 graduate attributes that are being defined by ABET, and it is necessary to consider these 12 points while devising your program outcomes. So, what is the relation between vision, mission, POs, GS, and all these things? It is shown here. And initially, we start with vision, and then we start with vision, and we had some process of defining the vision, and then we had some process of designing the mission. Then the POs, we can come up with 3 to 5 POs. Then POs, and see here, these POs have been defined in connection with the PEOs and graduate attributes. You can see here. Then POs, some POs can be specified by some other organizations, outside organizations, and then these POs should resemble to the course outcomes. So there can be different courses. There can be courses which are core subject. There can be courses which are the increasing the breadth for computing and for electives. So all these course outcomes, remember that all these course outcome, so each course outcome here should resemble with more than one POs, and overall all the course outcomes should resemble with all the program outcomes. They should take care of all the program outcomes, and each program outcome can be resembled from more than one courses. Okay, so this is about the relation between all these entities. So here the POs are defined based on the input taken from the stakeholders, and vision and mission statements are of the department. So POs are taken from, first thing is that you have to take the help of your stakeholder as well as from vision and mission defined for the department as well as the institute. POs are defined based on POs, GS, and POs and GS, and POs given by FICCI. There are these are external organizations. They can define some POs, let us say. Then correlation between COs and POs is to be done. Correlation between COs and PSOs should be done. POs and POs should be done. Then POs and graduate attributes should be done, which will help in evaluation of the attainment of the POs and POs. Whereas the correlation between POs and GS, it is also necessary, as I told previously, and it ensures that the attribute specified in ABET document are adequately covered while defining the POs. So this is about the top-down approach, the things that we have defined under top-down approach. And with this, I conclude with my third lecture. I'll come up with the fourth lecture in next video, and that will be my last lecture in this particular course. Thank you for joining me, and hope to meet you in the next lecture.